Everyone wants money, stability, freedom, security. But almost no one stops to ask themselves if they're truly ready to handle all of that. The truth is, most people don't get rich because they can't handle the invisible weight that comes with money. And that weight isn't the number in your account. It's the internal shift it demands. For a long time, I thought my life would only begin once the money arrived. But when it finally did, after a lot of hard work, what I felt wasn't relief. It was pressure, fear, doubt, and an overwhelming urge to run back to the safe zone I knew. That's why today I don't just teach people how to earn, I teach them how to prepare. Because without mental, financial, and emotional readiness, wealth slips through your fingers. Up next, I'm going to share the 5 hardest and most freeing truths you need to face before you get rich. Truths no one told you, but that can change your relationship with money, for good. Truth number 1, wealth doesn't fix your emotional issues. It amplifies them. The first time I walked into an expensive restaurant without looking at the prices on the menu, I felt proud. I ordered whatever I wanted, paid without stress, and left feeling successful. But on the way back, alone in the car, I cried. Not from emotion, from emptiness, from a strange sadness whispering, if not even now you feel complete, what will ever be enough? That's when I understood. Money doesn't fill emotional voids. It might numb them for a while, but it doesn't heal. Before I had money, I thought all my fears would vanish the moment I reached financial stability. That the insecurity, the fear of rejection, the feelings of inferiority would disappear the day I made it. But the opposite happened. Money gave me space to hear more of myself. And in that silence came the inner voices I used to avoid while I was too busy just trying to survive. Here's what you need to understand. Money won't save you from yourself. If you have low self-esteem, you'll use money to try to prove your worth and get into debt doing it. If you don't feel deserving, you'll earn and lose it all. If you're always seeking approval, you'll spend to impress and still feel like you're not enough. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means wealth magnifies who you already are inside. It doesn't create power. It amplifies what already exists. That's why one of the hardest truths to accept is, you need to heal before you get rich. Otherwise, the wealth you want so badly will show up for a mind still stuck in scarcity mode. And the result? Self-sabotage, guilt, instability. Want a real-life example? Think of someone who's spent their whole life feeling less than others. That person makes money. What do? They buy to show off. They distance themselves from friends, thinking they won't be accepted anymore. Or they spend on everyone around them, hoping to be loved. None of this is about financial literacy. It's about emotional wounds that were never addressed. Healing doesn't come after the money. It needs to come before. So if you're on the journey toward wealth, start here. Go to therapy. Observe yourself with more compassion. Question your deepest beliefs. Why do I think I'll only have value when I have X? And most importantly, dismantle the idea that money will erase your pain. It won't! But it can be an incredible growth accelerator if you're emotionally ready to receive it. Truth. For 2, you won't feel ready when the opportunity comes. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got a phone call that could change my professional game. It was an invitation to lead a major project, the kind of opportunity I had dreamed about for years. And my first reaction wasn't to celebrate. It was, am I good enough? Maybe they made a mistake? What if I fail? I spent hours in a panic. Almost said no, because in that moment I felt like a fraud. But I said yes, afraid, shaking, feeling smaller than the challenge. And you know what happened? I pulled it off, with effort, with stumbles, but I grew through it. Here's the truth. The opportunity that changes your life doesn't show up when you're 100% ready. It shows up to force you to grow as you go. If you're waiting to feel prepared before you start, you'll spend your life getting ready. And you'll watch other people, often less qualified, take the spots that could have been yours, because they said yes before they felt ready, and became ready along the way. There's a critical point in the path to wealth that no one talks about. The money, the invitations, the partnerships, the leaps, they come before your inner security does. That happens because life doesn't just reward competence, it rewards availability. Those who are available, even afraid, even without all the answers, step into spaces that change their path. And they learn in real time how to carry what once felt too big. You want to get rich? Then get ready to feel lost, incapable, anxious, and keep going anyway. Because that's part of the process. Here are 3 things that helped me deal with it. I repeated this like a mantra. I learned fast, and I'm reliable. It didn't matter if I'd never done it before. What mattered was how quickly I could learn, adapt, and deliver. I surrounded myself with people who saw me as bigger than I saw myself. Mentors, friends, professionals who reminded me of my worth, not with flattery, but with truth. I accepted that fear is part of the game. I didn't fight it. I just didn't let it make my decisions for me. You won't feel confident at the start. But if you do it anyway, even with doubt, confidence will come from the doing, not the theory. And when confidence comes, money notices, opportunities sense it. You start attracting invitations, clients, projects, partnerships, because now you can hold the space. But you only got here because back then you said yes without being sure of anything. Truth number 3. You're going to lose people along the way, and that's natural. No one warned me that growing would mean choosing between holding on to old connections or honoring my new self. And when that moment came, it hurt. One of my oldest friendships started to feel heavy. Not because there was a fight, but because every time I talked about my plans, my studies, my financial goals, the response was a joke, a sarcastic comment, a look that said, "What's all this for?" At first, I tried to smooth things over. I toned myself down, hid my wins, sabotaged myself to keep the comfort of the relationship, until I realized it wasn't about friendship anymore. It was about attachment. Attachment to the validation of someone who didn't want to walk at the same pace anymore. Here's a tough truth about the journey to wealth. Not everyone will come with you. And it's not because people are bad. It's because growth creates discomfort. Not just for you, but for those around you too. When you start moving, getting organized, changing your habits, you become a mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable. They show others what they're not ready to see. Some will turn their nose up. Some will call you arrogant, too much, too different. Some will try to pull you back to the familiar. Not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear of losing you. Fear of watching you go further. Fear that they might have to change too. And if you're not ready to face that, you'll sabotage yourself. You'll slow your growth just to keep fitting in. You'll deny your new ideas to avoid upsetting others. Until one day you realize, if you don't make space, you'll keep squeezing yourself into a version that no longer fits. And here's the most curious part. When you choose to honor yourself, some people will walk away. But others, amazing ones, will start to show up. People who celebrate your progress, who listen with respect, who share tools, paths, solutions, who normalize success, money, and high self-esteem. But this new circle only appears after you let go of the old one. Here's a practical exercise. Make a list of the people you spend the most time with. Reflect. Do these people lift you up or keep you stuck? It's not about cutting people off with resentment. It's about reorganizing space. Some relationships don't need to end. They just need a new role, new frequency, new level of intimacy. Make a commitment. Only share your goals and dreams with those who know how to take care of them. With those who cheer you on, support, inspire. With those who don't project fear onto your courage. Because on the path to wealth, what sustains you isn't just financial intelligence. It's the quality of the voices you listen to along the way. And if you stay surrounded by people who doubt you, soon you'll start doubting yourself too. Truth number 4. You'll need to kill the idea that getting rich is just about earning more. For a long time, I used to say, when I earn more, everything will get better. And what happened? I earned more, doubled my income, then tripled it. And incredibly, I was still tight on money. Because the problem wasn't how much I made. It was how much I ignored, avoided, or sabotaged with what I already had. Believing that getting rich is just about making more is one of the most dangerous traps of our generation. It's what keeps so many people stuck in a never-ending cycle of hustle, burnout, and frustration. The more they make, the more they spend. The more they spend, the more they need to earn. And they never move forward. Because true wealth is about management, not surplus. Want to get rich? Then you'll have to accept this truth. You need to learn to take good care of a little before asking for a lot. And taking good care of a little means knowing exactly where your money is going. Cutting what doesn't make sense, even if everyone has it. Stopping the spending just to impress people who don't even know your struggle. Building an emergency fund before booking that trip in installments. Saying no even when you could say yes, just to protect your bigger plan. It sounds obvious, but in practice few people do it. Why? Because facing what you already have takes maturity. It means stopping the self-deception. It means accepting that maybe you've wasted resources. It means letting go of the comfort of blaming a low salary and starting to take action with what's already in your hands. And you know what's beautiful? When you start getting organized, committing, treating $20 like it's $200, the universe gives you more because you're showing you know how to take care. Wealth is responsibility before it's abundance. And if you don't build structure first, you'll drown later, even with more money. People who build wealth consistently do 3 things really well. They know exactly where they are. They know how much they earn, how much they owe, how much they invest, and what they need. They live below their means, not to punish themselves, but to build. To have margin, safety, and peace of mind. They make money work for them. Even with a little, they learn how to invest, how to multiply, how to make choices with a long-term mindset. And all of that starts long before they double their income. It starts when they stop putting off getting organized, waiting for a bigger amount. Want to get rich? then forget this idea that the problem is just not enough money. Maybe what's missing isn't more income. It's more command, more discernment, more emotional intelligence to stop buying approval, distraction, or escape. Wealth is presence. It's clarity. It's emotional control turned into practical decisions. And if you don't have that now, you won't have it with $10,000 or $100,000. You'll stay in the same pattern, just with different zeros. Truth number 5. You need to act like a wealthy person before the money arrives. For a long time, my financial life mirrored my internal chaos. I didn't know what I wanted or what to prioritize. I lived in reaction mode, just putting out fires, solving emergencies. And every time someone said, "You need to think like a rich person," I thought it was just some cheap motivational talk. Until one day, it clicked. No one builds a new reality with the same behavior from the old one. The version of me that lived paycheck to paycheck, waiting for leftovers, saying, "When I have money, then I will," that version was never going to get rich, because it was tying the change to the arrival of money, when in reality, it's the change in behavior that brings the money. That's when I started studying how truly prosperous people act, even before becoming millionaires. And I realized there's a massive mindset difference. People who build wealth, make decisions with long-term vision, invest in themselves before expecting immediate returns, take ownership even when their bank account doesn't reflect it yet, don't live in scarcity or delusion. They live in construction. That completely changed my behavior. And the most interesting part? I started to feel rich before the money arrived. Not out of arrogance, but because I started acting like someone who respects themselves, prioritizes themselves, gets organized, and knows they'll get there. And then the money came. Not like magic, but as a consequence. Wealth is a state of alignment. You think, speak, and act like someone who already holds the life they want to live. Here's a simple example. You say you want financial freedom, but you behave like someone who never looks at where their money goes, who accepts any rate, any deal, any exchange. You say you want to invest, but you keep saying, "I don't have time to study. That's not for me." You say you want a lighter life, but you're always too busy, with no time for yourself, saying yes to everything that drains your energy. Something's off, because you want the destination, but keep acting like you're headed somewhere else. The question that changes everything is, if I were already rich, how would I think? How would I act? How would I speak to myself? And start acting in line with that answer. Even if your bank account doesn't reflect it yet. Even if no one gets it. Even if it feels too soon. Because it's not money that transforms you. It's the daily habit of acting like someone who knows their worth, with or without outside validation. Most people think getting rich starts with a bigger paycheck, a brilliant idea, or some external breakthrough. But now you know getting rich starts long before the money. It starts when you face your emotions with maturity, say yes to opportunities even while scared, let go of connections that no longer support your growth, learn to take wise care of what you already have, and act like someone who knows they're going to make it, even if they haven't yet. These truths aren't popular. They're not easy to hear, but they're what separate the ones who only dream of wealth from the ones who build it. And maybe the most important part, you don't need to wait for anything else to begin. The change starts with your next behavior, your next choice. The way you treat yourself, position yourself, organize, commit. Because money is just a tool. It doesn't change who you are. It amplifies. So tell me, which of these truths hit you the hardest today? Drop it in the comments. Writing is the first act of commitment to your new mindset. And if this content stirred something in you, helped you, flipped a switch inside, share it. Not for me, but because the world needs more truly wealthy people. People who build wealth with awareness, structure, and purpose. The rest is just a consequence.